Hello and welcome back to the stream. This is my reaction to the just hopefully witnessed UFC Fight Night Emmett versus Murphy, and we're just gonna hop right into it because I'm really tired and I just want to go to bed. I'm sorry. Yeah, first fight of the night. I actually did not see the first two fights of the night, I have to admit. So I only know I predicted Alenka to win by decision, and she won by decision. We move on. Martin Budai was supposed to face Nzechukwu. Anthony Nzechukwu, no? Kennedy, I'm sorry. Kennedy Nzechukwu had some sort of injury, I guess. Was there anything? No, just injury. We don't know. I missed that fight as well, so can't tell you much about that one either. Martin Budai won by unanimous decision. We move on. Bantamweights, we had Victor Henry versus Pedro Falcao. 1 second, yeah. I think I had Henry winning by TKO. Yeah, that was my prediction, but it turned out differently. This is the first fight I actually watched. So the first round, I thought Henry dominates with his knockdown and afterwards his good takedown defense because Falcao was shooting a lot. Second round was much closer. Falcao got some takedowns, but couldn't do anything with him actually. I gave the second round just based on damage also to Victor Henry. The third round was completely controlled, bar one takedown for Henry on the feet. Like Falcao got him down once, and he oftentimes gave his back to get up, but it worked for him. So yeah, he got back up, no damage was done, and I gave him the third round as well, and he earned the unanimous decision on the judges' scorecards as well. We move on. We had the women's strawweights. We had Loma Lokbunme versus Estela Nunez. I had Lokbunme winning by submission, I think. No, by TKO, of course. How should, yeah, by TKO. Yeah, the first round, Lokbunme had a bad takedown attempt and somehow ends up on the bottom and completely gets dominated in the first round from top position when Nunez got on top. Second round was very boring and kind of uneventful. Again, I thought Nunez controlled the round. The third was again more grappling. This time, Loma controlled more of the exchanges in my opinion, and I gave her the third. But I had Estela Nunez winning 2-1 actually. It was I could see it. It's not a robbery in my book, but yeah. I had Nunez winning. Loma Lokbunme won. Unanimous, no? Yep, unanimous. Yeah, the first two rounds were very, very close, but I gave them both to Estela Nunez. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? We move on. Welterweights, we had Rice McKee versus Rhys McKee. I think I heard him pronounced Rhys McKee. Rhys McKee versus Daniel Frunza. This was a fireworks as long as it lasted. Rhys McKee dropped him early with a left hook. He hurts him a couple more times, and at the end of the round, Frunza is just a bloody mess. His face had like 3 cuts I could see. And yeah, that was that. It got stopped between rounds. So I predicted it the other way around, actually. I predicted Frunza to get the TKO. Instead, McKee got the TKO over him. We move on. Women's flyweights. We had Diana Belbita versus Dion Barbosa. I had Barbosa winning by decision, I think. Yeah, I thought Belbita would be too experienced to win, but tonight Barbosa showed good stand-up. And as soon as it hit the ground, she just was completely dominant. It turned out from couple of transitions. Oh my God, what a sentence! What a word. Yeah, Barbosa ended up with an arm triangle and submitted Belbita pretty quickly. It was, yeah, on the ground. Belbita couldn't deal with Barbosa at all. We move on. Bantamweights. This one got cancelled. David Grant versus Daniel Santos. Santos wasn't medically cleared. Yeah, so we move on. The main card started with the middleweights. Torres Finney versus Robert Valentin. And yeah, I predicted Finney to get a TKO victory. But he didn't. The first round was a relentless wrestling attack from Finney. And he got the first round with a couple of takedowns and a lot of control time. More of the same in the second round. In the second round, I felt like it started more with him burying his head in between Valentin's legs or to the side. In the third round, it was even worse. The third round I gave actually to Robert Valentin because he dealt a lot better with the pressure. He overcommitted a couple of times on the weapons he was using. Like could have maybe protected himself from getting taken down again or pressed against the cage, which happened a lot. The weird part about this, as I said, I gave the last round to Robert Valentin, but the first 2 rounds were finished for sure. One judge gave all 3 rounds to Torres Finney. To Robert Valentin. All 3. Yeah, that guy gets paid to do that. We move on. We had the flyweights. Audie Osborne versus Luis Gurule. Yeah, Audie Osborne looked great tonight again. I had him winning by decision, but he looked even better. The first round started on the feet, of course, and Audie Osborne at least he threw a couple of very, very hard shots. He landed a couple hard leg kicks, like to the body, which were blocked, but still they do damage. So he hit him with some big shots. Most of them were caught on the guard, but still they were big shots. Gurule got a takedown, like at like 3.5 minutes, something like that, and dominated actually on the ground. Oli Osborne had no chance to get up again for a while, I think. Then he was this the fight where he got up only to be taken down again? No, I don't think so. Yeah, he got controlled, I think. We move on. Second round, a lot better takedown defense from Oli Osborne. So he kept the fight standing, and one of his combinations he finished off with a beautiful counter straight left, which set Gurule down, and he finished him shortly after in the second round. We move on. Middleweights, we had Brad Tavares versus Gerald Meerschaert. I had Meerschaert winning by submission because I thought at some point Tavares would make a mistake, but as the fight turned out, and he admitted in the post-fight interview, he was very aware of that possibility, so he was super careful not to get caught late. The first was dominated by Brad Tavares. He landed a couple of really nice 1-2s, which snapped Gerald Meerschaert's head back like quick. Hard, let's say hard. The second round, just overall, Brad Tavares looked so much faster on the feet. Like everything Gerald Meerschaert threw looked labored. It was like someone who's not really trying to punch you, but like more poking at you to reach your leg with the other hand, you know? Not really a striker's approach, and a sharp striker like Brad Tavares can be. Looked so much faster. I give the second to Tavares. The third, Gerald Meerschaert rallied, of course, as he always does, with relentless pressure. He didn't get a lot done with his wrestling. He pressed Tavares against the cage. He had a kind of control position, if you want to call it that way, when he was on his back, but Tavares was still standing, pressed up against the cage. And he tried to kick his legs out, but failed on a couple of attempts and couldn't take him really down. So Tavares got the underhooks back and, yeah, fought him the takedown attempt off again. But I still give the third to Meerschaert. Yeah. Unanimous decision for Brad Tavares. I'm really glad because, as I said before, Brad Tavares is one of my favorite fighters from that season of The Ultimate Fighter. I think he is my favorite fighter from that season of The Ultimate Fighter, actually. I can't remember who was on that. Well, not going to talk about this anymore. We move on. We should have this fight, but yeah. Kennedy Nzechukwu injured. Fight got cancelled. We move on. Martin Dubudai won his short notice replacement fight. We move on. We had the bantamweights. Cortavius Romeos versus Lee Chong-ho. Lee Chong-ho surprised me because he was extremely dominant against a guy like as in Cortavius Romeos, who I thought would be very dominant in the grappling and wrestling department, especially against Lee Chong-ho, but yeah, as I predicted a submission for Romeo's in this. But before we start, Romeo's missed weight by 4 pounds, I think, which, yeah, I'm not a big fan of, but yeah, has to be mentioned. The first round was pure ground dominance by Lee Chong-ho. I didn't expect it, but he did control Cortavius Romeo's. A couple of times Romeo's tried to threaten with submissions, but always Lee Chong-ho managed to end up on top and did some damage, threatened with his own submissions. Yeah. Second round, we had a lot of scrambles, and yeah, in these scrambles, it seemed like in the first round, as I just said, it seemed like Lee Chong-ho always ended up on top, and in one of these situations, he ends up in mount. I think from a back triangle into a mount, from a body triangle into a mount, and he just rains down hell onto Cortavius Romeos, who can't withstand the punishment. He gets cut up badly. I think he was bleeding really bad shortly before it got stopped. And yeah, TKO victory for Lee Chong-ho. And we move on. We had the co-main event. Featherweights, Pat Sabatini versus Joe Anderson Brito. I don't think the UFC expected this to go the way it did. But Pat Sabatini came out as a bat out of hell. Just trying to get to Joe Anderson Brito. I think the first time he actually caught a kick, and this is how he ended up in a scramble, and yeah, ended up on top and started to dominate Brito, who had nothing for him, actually. Nothing. Pat Sabatini dominated from top position the entire first round. He had a couple of Van Flue choke attempts. Yeah, for a couple of times it looked really, really close. I'm not going to talk about the Van Flue anymore because it happened in the second round again. But overall, 1 or 2 times his face looked a little like he was swelling up a little bit. Other than that, he looked kind of relaxed in that situation, and Sabatini seemed to recognize that and not waste any energy on trying to get the submission. But it looked tight on 1 or 2 occasions to me. Yeah. The second round was more of the same, more dominance from Pat Sabatini as soon as he got the fight to the ground. And the third round was complete dominance again. Early takedown, and yeah, unanimous decision victory for Pat Sabatini. Nothing for Joe Anderson Brito in this matchup to do. But for him there was no beating Pat Sabatini unless he catches him before, but he didn't even come close with any big shots, I don't think. We move on. Main event of the evening. We had the featherweights, Josh Emmett versus Lerone Murphy, and I predicted Josh Emmett to get a decision, I think. Yeah, to get a decision. Because I thought he had more tools to win the fight, which turned out to be kind of true, but kind of not true as well. Because Lerone Murphy had the leg kick tool, which I did not see coming, the way it turned out to be true. Like the stomping, like from his lead leg, the stomps to the lead leg of Emmett, they looked like they bothered Emmett in his movement, and yeah, seemed very effective. Emmett tried to wrestle a couple of times, but not to great success. He got him down a couple of times, but couldn't control him. Yeah, but we go through it round by round. The first I thought was very, very close. We had a lot of back and forth on the feet, with a little bit more damage done by Lerone Murphy. But in hindsight, I thought in the replay, I wasn't sure if the cut came from the elbow or from the clash of heads right before. And since I based my assumption for round one on damage, yeah, debatable the first. The second round, the pace slowed a little bit. Emmett landed bigger, so I gave him the second. In the third, it kind of got turned around. Murphy landed more, but he landed also the bigger strikes. The fourth was still very close round, but in my mind, it was the best round for Josh Emmett in the entire fight. So I gave it to Emmett, and I had it at a draw entering the fifth. And in the fifth, Lerone Murphy just controls the range. Josh Emmett didn't seem to have the tools to get to him at all. And yeah, it was kind of close. The way he ran away in the fifth a little bit also could sway judges, have swayed judges in the past, so I wouldn't have been surprised. But he got the unanimous decision victory, and yeah, we move on to a little bit closer to my bed. These were my picks. And yeah, now we check. Oh, yeah. 1 second. I move myself so you can see. Now you've seen this part, and now you have 10 seconds to check the rest of the roster, and then I'll move on to the next page. And now we move on. I predicted the Italian card to win by unanimous decision over Vanessa Demopoulos, and it turned out to be true. I'm not going to say it that way all the way down. Martin Budai won a unanimous decision. Victor Henry won a unanimous decision over Pedro Falcao. Loma Lokbume, a unanimous decision victory over Estela Nunez. Riz McKee wins by TKO over Daniel Franza, corner stoppage after the first. Dion Barbosa, submission over Diana Belbita. Davy Grant did not fight. Daniel Santos was the one with the medical problem, I think, not Davy Grant. Yeah, that way around. Audie Osborne by TKO in the second round over Luis Gurule. Torres Finney, a split decision victory over Robert Valentin. Brett Tavares, unanimous decision victory over Gerald Merchert. Kennedy and Zechubo did not fight Martin Budai. Lee Chong-ho, dominant performance, TKO over Cortavius Romeus. Pat Sabatini, also a dominant performance in a unanimous decision victory over Joe Anderson Brito. And Lerone Murphy, unanimous decision victory in a kind of close but controlled fight over Josh Emmett. And again, I forgot to move my cam in time. Yep, great. But hopefully you can see the fights now. All right. Overall, for this event, I wasn't happy with the fights for this event when I made my prediction video. The card turned out worse because they had 2 more cancellations, like 1 cancellation and 1 late replacement. Yeah. From this event, I will never ever underestimate Lee Chong-ho ever again, because I did not think someone could do that to Cortavius Romeus, and he made it look easy. So, congrats. Great performance. I will never do it again. Same goes for Bet Sabatini. Also, Lerone Murphy. Welcome to the. Where does he rank up now? 7? Top 7, maybe? Sorry, I'm so tired. Maybe 7. Maybe he just gets Emmett's spot because via UFC is just ranked 8th. Yeah. So those were the 3 really interesting fights to me. Also, Dione Barbosa seems to be like a really contender for the women's flyweight division, which is always nice for me to see, because I'm sorry, but oftentimes, like the Lukmume Nunes fight, it's kind of boring. But she was very exciting. She seems like a very exciting female fighter, and I'm very, very happy to see more of those. I'm not just decision, not just decision after decision in that division, in those divisions. What else? Torres Finney, I'm sorry, but you need more than just wrestling. You need something to make people want to watch you fight. Like pushing them against the cage and then leaning on them is just not gonna do it. Audie Osborne looked great tonight. And Riz McKee looked great. Those are my takeaways from tonight. Look out in the future for Lee Chung-ho. And of course Lerone Murphy, because he just cemented himself as a contender at featherweight. I see you guys in the next one, and yeah, I hope you have a good night, and yeah, see you.